sound of distant battle drums, thousands of voices chanting war cries. Narrator. An army of tens of thousands stood ready to destroy Israel. Yet God chose just 300 men to change history forever. A quiet valley at dusk, the sun casting golden light over rolling hills. Farmers quietly tend their fields, children play, and shepherds guide sheep. Suddenly, ominous dust clouds rise on the horizon as the Midianite army approaches, tens of thousands strong, armed and ready for war. Narrator. The Israelites had been oppressed for years by the Midianites, who swept across the land, stealing crops, destroying homes, and leaving fear in their wake. Their cries reached the heavens, and God sent a deliverer, a man named Gideon. Scene. Gideon, a humble farmer, threshing wheat in a hidden valley, startled as angels appear in a soft glow. Narrator. Gideon was far from a warrior, a simple man hiding in fear, questioning his worth. Yet God saw courage where Gideon saw doubt. Close up. Gideon's eyes widen as the angel speaks. Angel. The Lord is with you, mighty warrior. You will save Israel from the Midianites. Narrator. Mighty warrior? Gideon laughed, trembling. How could a man so small lead a nation against an army that outnumbered them thousands to one? Night falls. Gideon gathers men to fight, but God says the army is too large. He wants the glory to belong to him. Narrator. God said, the army is too many. If they win by numbers, no one will know it is I who saved Israel. So Gideon's army was reduced, first from 32,000 to 10,000, then tested at the spring until only 300 men remained. Men who lapped water like dogs, alert and ready for God's command. Scene. Close-ups of 300 men, tense, holding torches and jars, eyes wide with fear and anticipation. Narrator. 300 men against tens of thousands. The odds were impossible, yet Gideon trusted God. He prepared a plan that would strike fear into the enemy without a single sword clash. At least not in the way anyone expected. Scene. The 300 silently creeping through the night, hidden in the shadows, hearts pounding as they approach the enemy camp. Narrator. In the dead of night, the Midianite camp was unaware of the tiny force moving against them. Gideon raises his hand. 300 men simultaneously blow trumpets, break jars, revealing torches inside. The sound echoes across the valley. Narrator. Shout! Blow the trumpets! God's signal! Scene. Hundreds of torches flare to life, surrounded by the sudden clatter of broken jars. Midianites awaken in panic, thinking Israelite reinforcements have surrounded them. Narrator. Terror struck like lightning. Confusion spread. Men fought each other in darkness, fleeing from a force that seemed impossible. God had turned fear into a weapon, and the enemy fell before them without direct battle. Scene. Midianites scattering across the hills, torches flickering in chaos, Gideon's men shouting, the valley alive with divine power. Narrator. It was not strategy alone. It was faith, courage, and the hand of God that delivered Israel. From 300 to thousands, the Midianites were defeated, and the Israelites were free once more. Dawn breaks, the valley is quiet. Smoke rises from the scattered enemy tents. Gideon stands, exhausted but victorious, looking over the 300 men who trusted God and each other. Narrator. Gideon, once a fearful farmer, now stood as a hero chosen by God, not because of his strength, but because he obeyed, believed, and stepped forward when fear could have held him back. Close up. Gideon's face, relief and gratitude shining through. Men cheering softly, embracing, The valley is peaceful, a new day of freedom dawning. Narrator. God's power is revealed not in numbers, not in strength alone, but in the courage to follow him, even when the odds seem impossible. The battle was over, but the story was far from complete. Gideon looked across the valley, where the morning light kissed the hills, and the smoke of the defeated Midianites slowly drifted away. 300 men, ordinary men, once trembling with fear, now stood as instruments of God's power. Their courage had reshaped the destiny of a nation. Gideon remembered the fear in his own heart, the laughter that had escaped him when the angel first called him a mighty warrior. And yet here he was, not because of his strength, not because of clever strategy, but because he had trusted, stepped forward, and obeyed. God had used the smallest, the weakest, the most overlooked to accomplish the impossible. Soft, ambient sound, footsteps, murmurs of soldiers, gentle torch flickers. The men gathered their courage and slowly helped one another, tending to the wounded and comforting those who shook with exhaustion. Each heart, once heavy with fear, now carried a quiet triumph. Gideon walked among them, speaking words of hope, humility, and gratitude, reminding them that victory was never theirs alone. It was a gift of faith and obedience. As the sun rose higher, the valley seemed transformed. Where terror had ruled, peace now settled. Where doubt had whispered, hope now spoke. The fields, the hills, the very air seemed to hum with the quiet power of God's presence, as if nature itself celebrated the courage of those who had dared to trust him. Sometimes the smallest act of faith can topple giants. Trust, courage, and obedience can turn the impossible into the miraculous.